Hi, I'm Miss Nickerson.
No, Mr. Radford.
Welcome to the Viking Science Academy. Today we're going to be talking about evolution. This is just the first of a couple lectures on this, and today we're actually going to be talking about the evolution of the Earth and how the Earth has changed over time. So as we talk about evolution in class, make sure you keep your cool. There's a lot of different opinions on this, but it's good to have some good discussions on it. So, Mr. Radford, we got three big questions here that we're going to be talking about. What do you think?
The age of our planet.
Yes, the age of our planet. Has life always been the same, and how old is the Earth? So you guys should have some preconceived answers for these, and then we're going to talk about them and show what scientific evidence we have to answer these questions. So, excuse me, we're always learning new things, and there's been a lot of different things over time where civilizations have believed different things about the Earth and time.
Each culture has its own stories,
exactly.
its own accounts.
Some of them try to project back, and some of them try to project into the future. Probably one of the most common theories is dating the Bible and counting back. And the Bible is roughly, if you say count the generations back and so forth, it would say that the Earth is about 6,000 years old. But then some evidence came around that said, well, that can't be right. The Earth is cooling off, and some people thought, well, the Earth has been here forever. There was no beginning. And then we look at landforms, and we realize that it would take millions of years for that type of erosion to occur, like the Grand Canyon. So then we discovered something that kind of changed the whole thing. What's that?
Yeah, radioactivity. So this is how we're able to measure how old things are.
Okay. So we take a look at their atoms. It's basically like figuring out how old the atoms are, because atoms change over time, and if we can measure that change, then we can figure out how they are. So radioactivity is pretty important.
So, kind of goes back to chemistry.
Yes, it does. So how old is the Earth
isotopes. Then? So Earth was about 4.5 billion years, and the oldest Earth rocks are about 3.9 billion, and we've actually even dated some of the meteorites that have hit Earth to be about 4.3 billion years as well.
Okay.
So
that's really a big difference from 6,000 years old if we go back in generations in the Bible.
Yep.
And we also have some other evidence too. So we have some continents moving. Who came up with that?
Alfred Wegener.
Wegener,
yeah.
All right. People thought he was hilarious. They didn't believe him at all. He said, guess what? The land's moving. And they're standing on it going, no, it's not, guy. You are crazy.
Yeah.
But the land does move. And we know that the land moves because we have lots of different types of proof. We call this continental drift. And it's not just the land that moves, but remember, there's land under the ocean too.
Yeah.
So what we're talking about is big plates.
Yeah.
So how do these plates work?
Well, at each plate boundary, there's subduction zones or divergent zones. So they're either moving together, one going under the other, or they're moving apart. And so they're going about the rate of your fingernails, very slowly.
So right now, I think North America is slowly getting closer to Asia, like a inch a year.
Our Juan de Fuca plate is going to be bye-bye, probably,
All
the
right.
way it's looking.
So it's doing this because of the convection currents of the magma inside the Earth. Magma is this boiling lava, and as it boils and bubbles, it pushes against those plates, and it pushes them apart. It's kind of like if you put a bunch of pieces of foam into a boiling pot of water. They're not just going to hold still. They're going to bump and grind and move around. So this leads to plate tectonics, and we can trace their movement now backwards, and we can see that originally there was one really large land mass made up of the plates called Pangea. We'll watch an animation of this in class. So what are some other evidence that we have?
Well, the first one is the duh factor. If you take a look at any map, you can see that the edges of the land parts of the plates, they kind of fit together like a puzzle.
They do, and line right up. You can see in the picture kind of down here too.
Yeah. What else we got?
Well, if we look at where minerals, plant fossils, animal fossils are found, you'll have a similar fossil found on two different continents. And you think, well, how do they get in South Africa and South America? They're separated by an ocean. Well, they actually really line up. Diamonds, all kinds of stuff line up as if it was originally formed in one large landmass.
The one that cracks me up is Antarctica. there's fossil ferns.
Yeah, and animals, all kinds of stuff, and it's icy, so
Yep.
we know that there's been some changes. We can also take a look at the magnetism of the Earth. It kind of leaves some stripes in the Earth's rocks as they're created, and we can take a look at the ocean seafloor, and that tells us a lot. We can also use laser measurements now, bouncing it off of the moon, and we can tell how the position of the laser as it's changed. So right now, like as we said, we're getting about 2 centimeters per year closer to Asia. So let's go back in time. Let's kind of figure out like what's happened during the Earth during this. So we have the beginning, right?
Yep.
You can think of the beginning however you'd like, but somehow we have the beginning of the universe.
Yep.
And we're taking a look at it at calendar year. It's quite a ways until our galaxy forms, and then finally, not until September, this pretend year, do we finally get our solar system. What about Earth?
It's close, not far after that. Okay, the protoplanets hitting each other, and Earth gradually formed from that. First life would be, what do we got? 11
Bacteria.
days later. Okay, but it would on our calendar that's a long time.
It's a long time, yeah. And we go back and we see the first cells of the nucleus with only a month and a half left in the entire year of the galaxy. It's really December when things start getting hopping. We finally have enough oxygen on Earth to support larger life forms at the beginning of December. Then we get the first simplest animals like worms, invertebrates, fish. Plants move on to land. December 21st, we finally see insects and the colonization of animals onto land. We get our first forests and dinosaurs right about just before Christmas. But look, they only live for like 2 days, 3 days.
Yeah.
And so finally all the dinosaurs are extinct by the 28th. We get our first primates, and then we see kind of like modern man start to come on December 30th. So an entire year, the second to last day is when we finally start to see an evolution of man come about. And then on the last day, modern humans.
And I hope the video that we watched Monday will kind of help.
Yeah, it'll help kind of make this sense. Yeah. So it's the last day. It's December 31st out of our year that the universe has been alive. It's not till 10:30 that night that we see the first kind of modern humans that are, we would classify as a human and not an animal. We used stone tools. We got agriculture invented and cities. Now we're into the last few seconds of that night. So it's the last minute. And it's not till, 25 seconds left we finally figure out how to read the stars. 9 seconds left, right. 4 seconds left as Jesus is born. Fall of Rome at the same time, Renaissance in Europe, and then finally midnight would mark where we're at right now. So a lot of people think, oh, humans haven't been on Earth forever. We've been on Earth for the last hour and a half.
Very small sliver
out of the whole year. Time. Yeah, it's nothing. And especially compared to the dinosaurs, we were on here for 5 days.
Yeah.
So the Earth is old. It's really old. There's no question about that. And if we consider it's old, then it's probably changed a lot over time. And that's really what evolution is. It's just change over time. It's not
that's what the word means.
Too
change.
Controversial. Yeah. So if the Earth has changed over time a lot, then I think it's probable to think that maybe life has changed a lot over time as well.
Yeah.
And before we started really exploring the Earth and we just kind of lived in one place our whole life, you find a fossil and you think, well, that's just an old animal that used to live here, but they wouldn't think of it as a different animal. Or they'd come up with kind of maybe some stories about dragons and giants and that kind of stuff. But now we've explored a lot of the Earth, and we find fossils, and we're kind of starting to take a closer look at those fossils. So what's a fossil?
Something that is evident of ancient life. So there's lots of different kinds. We could have casts that is just kind of an impression, petrified trees, the petrified forest, a lot of different kind of traces of life. Yeah,
I think some of my favorite fossils are the ones that they found in the ice. Because it's preserved, like the hair and skin and stuff. Here's an example of Iceman you're looking at, but they found mammoths and all kinds of cool stuff that are, thousands of years old.
Yeah.
So, during that time, there's been a lot of different animals and things happen on Earth. So scientists have broken this big chunk of time up into some big periods so that we can talk about stuff and know what we're talking about. And the first one is
Precambrian Era.
Look at the Earth there. It doesn't look like anything like today.
Yeah.
So this is where we've got just really simple life forms about 600 million years ago.
Yep.
This is when this would have ended, and we move into the Paleozoic Era.
So most life started out in water.
Yeah.
And then gradually moved to land.
And I jumped through that one a little bit quick.
That's okay.
Then we moved to the Mesozoic. We call this one the age of the dinosaurs. This was till about 63 million years ago. And we have, if you look at the formation of the continents, they're still kind of packed together. So we see, again, you can find fossils across some of those continents. And then finally we move into the Cenozoic Era, and this is mammals. And not just the mammals we know of today, but like some really big mammals too, like mammoths and saber-toothed tigers and that kind of stuff. And that globe is starting to look a little bit more familiar.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So finally we move into today, modern time, and we have the skills and ability to really kind of look back in time and figure out where we came from and what has changed over time. So the next lecture we're going to take a look at how animals have changed over time, and then finally we'll take a look at how humans have changed over time.
Yep.
All right. Thanks for joining us on the Viking Science Academy.